Chapter 101 unleashes pure chaos in cosmic comic fashion. Metropolis trembles as the Kryptonian ship rips beams through Earth's core. Density surges, gravity crushes, everything nearby. Jets can't get close, but just as all hope seems lost, the beams vanish. Gravity fades, and Hardy dives in with the C-17 to end it all. Then booms Zod's back, blasting through the sky like a vengeful god, targeting the last hope of Krypton's rebirth. Superman arrives like a thunderclap, smashing Zod's aim, ignoring his pleas, and obliterating the future of Krypton himself. Meanwhile, Lois is mid-air amid a Kryptonian ambush, but humanity fights back, crashing their own ship into the enemy, triggering the Phantom Zone projector in a desperate black hole gambit. And in the final, mythic Biat, just before Hardy sacrifices everything, a lone figure blocks his path, calm and cold, declaring, "This won't do. That ship is my property. Do you like this personality?" As the skyline of Metropolis quakes under the pressure of power beyond human grasp, Alex materializes within the Kryptonian ship, effortlessly neutralizing its defenders, like echoes in a vacuum until a roaring C-17 dares threaten his newly claimed prize. With a flick of his finger and the elegance of vector manipulation, he sends the aircraft hurtling backward, reversing its velocity as if time itself obeys his will. In a flash of spatial distortion, he's inside the C-17, his strike collapsing the consciousness of the Kryptonian with a burst of black-red lightning. No hesitation, no remorse, just purpose. He casts the Fallen into his pocket dimension and drags Colonel Hardy forward like gravity answers to him alone. "Do you realize you almost destroyed my ship?" he demands, eyes blazing with twilight ripple. The Colonel stammers in confusion, mistaking the vessel for Kryptonian property. "Not anymore," Alex declares, the words slicing through doubt. "It's mine. It's my prize." Dismissing the Colonel with cold indifference, he locks eyes with Clark, a wary silence crackling between them. And then, with a smile that carries both warning and truth, Alex delivers his final line. "I'm not your enemy. General Zod is, and he's not dead." Clark's eyes narrowed, suspicion in his voice as he confronted the stranger. "Who are you? I know Batman is in Metropolis, but you're not him." The naive trust he'd once placed in the imposter shattered the moment he saw the real Batman rescuing civilians in the Batmobile. This newcomer, too composed, too alien, couldn't match the one Clark knew the Dark Knight, unwavering in his silent crusade. Realizing the presence of the true Batman had unraveled his disguise, Alex adjusted his posture, cloaked in theatrical gravity. With a somber rasp, he confessed, "You found me out, but I am Batman, just not from this universe. You may call me the World Traveler, the Cosmic Wanderer, the Homeless Stranger." Every muscle in his face choreographed a tale of exile and cosmic burden, a masterclass in sorrow. And it worked, Clark, ever the heart-led warrior, faltered with guilt. Sorry, he murmured, his empathy disarming his suspicion. From the back, Professor Emil Hamilton's voice rang out, charged with academic thrill. Parallel universes really exist? Enthusiasm sparked behind his glasses. Dangerously close to obsession, yet, lucky for him, this wasn't a Lovecraftian world. Or that hunger for truth might have consumed him. Of course, the multiverse is real. Alex Locke has seen it all. Undead wastelands where monsters roam. Shattered worlds where every hero has fallen. And chaotic realms where a deranged Batman destroys realities alongside twisted versions of himself. He's walked among fractured timelines and even crossed into the Marvel multiverse, witnessing forces beyond comprehension. As his words echoed through the stunned silence, it was Lois who snapped back first, sharper than steel and unshaken by cosmic tales, because no matter how far the multiverse reached, the threat here and now was real. And she wasn't buying everything. "If you're really Batman," she challenged, eyes narrowed, "why stop us from neutralizing the Kryptonian ship? The Batman I know wouldn't do that." Alex's voice was calm, detached. "I need energy to jump between universes' massive energy. The Kryptonian ship is my only shot at returning to where I belong." His words hit like a steel trap, flawless and cold. When pressed on why he spared the Kryptonians, Alex's gaze cut through the room and landed on Clark, whose spine stiffened under that chilling stare. Kryptonians under a yellow sun? Walking energy cores. Harmless. Efficient. Super batteries. He flashed a wicked grin, thumb up like a salesman of doom. The air froze. Colonel Hardy, stern and unwilling to back down, declared, "You're not getting that ship or their bodies. You could be planning to conquer Earth with them." Alex's smirk deepened. Gone was the low-profile mask he wore in other worlds. With a flick of his will, gravity bent. Hardy flew into his grasp, caught by the throat as Alex leaned in, whispering through his smile, "Is it Superman that makes you brave? Or do you think I'm just as soft as him?" As Zod's furious blows thunder down on Clark, Lois pleads with Alex, her voice trembling, but he simply smiles, eyes distant, unmoved. "I've seen too many Supermen fall," he says coolly. "Some by my own hand. Why should I care about yours?" Above, the sky erupts in chaos as Superman and Zod wage a war of gods, their heat vision ripping skyscrapers apart while civilians scramble below like ants fleeing judgment. Even Wayne Tower crumbles, lost in the devastation. Batman, overwhelmed yet relentless, races through the chaos in the Batmobile, trying in vain to save lives. He came to Metropolis hunting an imposter wearing his cowl to find himself trapped in an apocalypse beyond mortal reach. Holding a child who's just lost everything, Gotham's Dark Knight stares skyward only to meet the gaze of a man in black, a mirror image of himself, wearing the same face, but carrying something far more terrifying behind the eyes. As Zod rains down blow after blow on a faltering Superman, Lois turns in desperation to Batman, but instead of concern, she's met with a smirk and icy detachment. "I've seen too many Supermen fall," he says flatly. "Why should yours be any different?" The sky above is a war zone, heat vision, cleaving skyscrapers while mortals scatter like insects. Amid the chaos, the Batmobile weaves through ruin, not to join the godly battle, but to save lives. Yet even Gotham's Dark Knight finds himself powerless, cradling a child beneath the shadow of a crumbling Wayne Tower. Then, through the dust and fire, a figure appears cloaked in black, chin familiar, but something far more dangerous beneath. Is this conversation helpful so far? It was like staring into a dark mirror. Batman knew instantly this was no ally. With razor-edged calm, he stepped forward. "Who are you? Why are you wearing my face?" The other version, Alex, met his gaze without fear, his voice echoing like fractured glass across dimensions. "I told them, and now I tell you. I am you, you are me. I come from a parallel universe." Batman's suspicion flared like a silent alarm, but Alex only smiled, as if the disbelief was part of the game. Stretching out his hand, Alex's tone turned rich with cosmic venom. "My counterpart, I've felt that fury burning as you watch those two aliens tear your world apart. They're unstoppable, untouchable, and you're just a man in a suit." The words hung heavy in the air like smoke before a storm. "You can't stop them, can you? So tell me, Batman, what are you gonna do?" Batman locked eyes with the man who looked just like him, an exact copy, his reflection with a heartbeat. Moments earlier, that same man had unraveled Batman's past like reading pages from a journal, earning a sliver of belief from the Dark Knight. But belief hardened into resolve when Batman watched Wayne Tower fall, his people gone, his mission gutted. Desperation drowned caution. He reached out, and as their hands met, the transformation began. A black symbiote surged over him, replacing armor with living shadow, while red energy spiraled from the copy's hand into his veins, destroying, healing, rewriting his essence with cursed techniques from another world. Power flooded him, reshaping every fiber of his being until he rose reborn, pulsing with might beyond logic. Then came the command echoing through his soul. "Go. Stop them. Make the Kryptonians understand that Earth is superior." As the Batmobile roared toward the clash of titans, Alex watched from the shadows, knowing the battlefield had just gained a new god. Batman surged forward, cloaked in shadows, wielding the level 3 blue and the fierce reversal of red like living forces of nature. With Alex's temporary infusion, his strikes cracked the sound, barely reached blow a seismic pulse of precision rage. Across from him, General Zod had already rattled Superman with a sonic punch that nearly shattered his jaw. Superman, dazed and bruised, barely registered the growl of an approaching engine. A sleek motorcycle screeched to a halt. Another Batman emerged, stone carved from darker resolve, cloaked in myth, more storm than man. Superman recognized the difference instantly. This was not the weary guardian of Gotham, but a specter of absolute intent. Still, Clark pleaded, "Batman, leave. This isn't your fight." But the new Batman, gaze locked on Zod, said nothing. Fury simmered beneath the silence. The storm was here and it wore the cowl. Fueled by the searing grief of lost comrades and a city reduced to rubble, Batman erupts with fury as the weight of countless innocent deaths pushes him to the edge. His voice, heavy with rage, challenges the Kryptonian belief in superiority and impunity no longer will unchecked power escape justice. As Superman hesitates, sensing the shift, Zod snarls with contempt, vowing annihilation. But Batman strikes like a storm incarnate to vanishing and reappearing with a punch cloaked in black-red lightning that rips the sky and hurls Zod across Metropolis. Blow after thunderous blow follows, every strike echoing his fury, every impact a judgment rendered. The Dark Knight doesn't just fight, dominates, driving the once mighty general beyond the city's borders, leaving Superman stunned, questioning the very fabric of his reality. Clark lunged forward to assist but froze as a hand clamped his shoulder like a vice. No matter how hard he struggled, the grip held firm. A lazy voice, unmistakably Alex's, drawled, "This is Batman's fight. You stay here." Clark turned and terror struck. Dozens of Kryptonians hovered in the air, bound and glowing, their solar-fed power funneled straight into Alex like fuel. They were nothing more than living batteries. One glance at their fate, and Clark dared not take another step. Then, without motion, the world warped. They were suddenly at the edge of Metropolis. The shift was seamless, terrifying. Alex's voice came again casually. "Just a little spatial manipulation, no big deal." Clark stared, stunned. Just? Then why couldn't he do it? Smug, Alex summoned a soda from nowhere, took a sip, and spectated the chaos. In the distance, Zod staggered from the barrage, clutching his wounds. His pride shattered, his enemy had no honor, only cold precision aimed at every weakness. Zod staggered, a sharp crack echoing in his skull, but the Kryptonian warlord wasn't shaken. He loomed over Batman, sneering, his voice laced with contempt. "You're stronger than expected, Earthling, but I was forged in Krypton's war. Forges, bred to conquer galaxies. You can't beat me." But before his words could finish echoing through the rubble, a streak of black and red cut through the air. Batman's fist slammed into Zod's face, splitting skin and pride. Blood dripped. Zod reeled. Batman's voice followed like a blade. "So, you bleed too?" Fury ignited in Zod's eyes. He wiped his chin, stunned that a Humanon Earthborn anomaly had drawn blood. Madness clawed at his mind as he roared, "I carry Krypton's might in my genes. I was born to protect my world. How can an Earthborn mongrel stand against me?" But Batman didn't answer, surged forward again, the raw fusion of gravity and repulsion swirling in his strikes, reshaping battle into something Zod had never faced before. With enhanced gravity and repulsion at his command, Batman wielding a body as unbreakable as Zod's dominates the battlefield with terrifying efficiency. Krypton's might meets Earth's ingenuity, but it's Earth that claims victory. A master strategist to the core, Batman never even needed to clash in earlier fights. Just observation gave him all the data he needed to dismantle Zod. Every strike he lands distorts the air with black, red, and deep blue arc-spear kinetic poetry. Despite lacking otherworldly traits like 6 glowing eyes, Batman executes flawless energy control, a testament to his relentless will. Overhead, Superman and Alex watch, and Superman, still shaken by his prior defeat, can barely believe Zod is now crumbling under Batman's assault. The yellow sun tries to heal Zod, but it's not enough. Another brutal blow sends him crashing into the earth, motionless. Batman charges in to finish it, driven by vengeance for those lost in Black Zero. But at the final instant, Alex materializes, effortlessly catching Batman's punch. Calmly, he explains, "I need them to provide me with energy." Batman, composed once more, reflects his strength is borrowed, flowing from the Traveler Batman. He paused mid-strike, eyes fixed on Alex. "What are you planning to do with him?" Alex gestured toward the Kryptonians, suspended like broken gods above the battlefield. "This is his destiny until I find a better power source." Zod stirred, dazed from supersonic blows that fractured more than bone. As he came to, he saw 2 Batmen before him and dozens of his warriors trapped in silent agony. Realizing Alex's intentions, Zod roared, "How dare you disgrace Krypton's might? End us now, or we'll annihilate every last one of you." Alex smirked coldly, "You won't get that chance." With unflinching precision, he shattered Zod's limbs, bound him in a siphoning symbiote, and silenced the defiance. "Another god reduced to energy cattle." Batman nodded, approving the judgment. "Fitting." Superman, weary, watched in silence. Moments later, Alex bent space, warping himself, Batman, and Superman back to Metropolis, entering the alien vessel where Catwoman waited. Surrounded by futuristic marvels he couldn't yet control, Alex summoned Fiora from his pocket dimension. Her resistance was fierce, even after Alex overwhelmed her senses through the symbiote's grip, but her glare burned with stubborn fire. Alex narrowed his eyes, sensing something beneath Fior's defiance expectation, flickering in her gaze like a challenge. She wasn't breaking, she was savoring the chaos. Frustrated, yet intrigued, Alex called up the system panel. Unlimited Void, a dormant force, mostly ignored in favor of raw physical dominance and the Mind Stone's precision. But now, with level 3 nearing evolution, a spark of strategy ignited. He cloaked himself in domain after domain, feeding the system with overwhelming energy, forcing evolution. When the skill broke through to level 4, the shift was seismic. The domain stretched across 20 kilometers not diameter, but radius enough to mentally collapse a small nation. More than just sensory overload, the new version let Alex surgically target enemies, bypass allies, and most importantly, rewrite minds. Memories extracted, realities rewritten, This wasn't just power, it was narrative control. The battlefield had become a canvas, and Alex was now the author of every thought, every fear, every illusion his enemies believed. Alex unleashed unlimited void, diving straight into Fora's psyche to rip out the secrets of Arc 2's operation, only to stumble upon a bizarre twist in her mindscape. Beneath her icy shell lay a craving for symbiote control that left even Alex momentarily stunned. But sentiment had no place here. He rewrote her memories, imprinting loyalty like divine code, then released her. Feora landed, cheeks flushed, declaring her readiness with robotic reverence. Watching from the sidelines, Batman, Clark, and Catwoman were baffled the moment she was resisting. The next she bowed like a knight to her king. Alex sealed the scene with a cryptic gesture, prompting Batman to question the sudden obedience. With a smirk and a sharp jab, Alex shot back, claiming that any true Batman comes with superhuman prowess, boundless stamina, and of course, mind control, leaving the Dark Knight in stunned silence, spiraling into a quiet identity crisis as Alex turned the page of fate once more. Even Clark turned toward Batman with a rare flicker of sympathy, doubt creeping into his thoughts if Batman could be seen as an inferior Bat. Did that make him an inferior Superman? Meanwhile, Alex Locke had just merged the world engine with Arc 2, ready to pierce the stars, when a squadron of armed helicopters blocked his path. His six eyes shimmered coldly as a voice barked from the sky, "Surrender the Kryptonian vessel, this is US property." In that instant, both Batman and Superman froze. They had come to understand the Traveler Alex wasn't cruel without cause, but he had boundaries carved from cosmic will. Cross them, and you weren't dealing with a Kryptonian nightmare, you were staring into something worse. The government had just smashed through that boundary. Before they could speak, Alex stepped forward, unfazed, mocking the steel swarm in the sky. "You want the Kryptonian ship?" he said, his voice colder than the vacuum of space. "Do you like this personality?" Batman materialized like a shadow stitched from fear itself, standing before the helicopters with eerie calm as the soldiers, hands trembling, leveled their weapons at him. They'd fought him before they knew his power, but still they stepped forward, clinging to the belief that this masked legend wouldn't cross a line. An officer's voice pierced the tension through a megaphone, declaring the Kryptonian vessel as rightful war bounty of the nation, not something for any lone individual. But Alex only laughed, his voice sharp with mockery, eyes blazing with contempt. "Where were you when Zod was tearing the sky apart? Hiding under rocks? You didn't even whimper, but now you found your courage?" He stepped forward, each word a blade. "You challenge me not because you're brave, but because you think I'm safe. Because I'm Batman, a protector." The officer flinched. This wasn't the Batman from files and briefings. Just then, a voice crackled through the comm surgeon, shaking, "Abort the mission! That Batman, he's not from our universe." We don't know if this Batman still clings to mercy or the old no neutralize code, but what's certain is, he's monstrously powerful. As Hardy's warning fell flat, the officer muttered, "It's too late." Before him, Batman formed a bizarre hand seal, lightning in black and crimson snaking around him. Then came the icy voice of the Reaper of the Night. "But I am different." "No? Neutralize rule? Absurd. I could assist against the Kryptonians, but only out of generosity. Don't mistake that for permission." Then Alex erupted, his body bursting with infinite energy at faster than light velocity. Domain expansion unlimited void. In a blinding instant, a 20-kilometer radius of Metropolis was wrapped in a swirling oblivion. With six eyes piercing reality, Alex marked every uniformed soldier as prey. One blink later, they were all inside the void, minds racing with infinite stimuli, paralyzed by their own awareness. Tragic. Moments passed. The domain retracted, and Metropolis's soldiers collapsed utterly overwhelmed, all unconscious. The sky thundered with chaos as pilotless helicopters spiraled downward, but in a flash of crimson and blue, Superman soared in, catching them mid-fall and landing them gently. He and Batman stood over the unconscious soldiers, questions on their tongues, but turned instead to Alex. With a calm smile, Alex brushed it off. "Oh, them? Just overloaded their brains with irrelevant data. They'll be fine just out cold for a bit." Superman exhaled, relieved. But Batman wasn't buying it. He knew Alex too well. "How long is a bit?" he asked, eyes narrowing. Alex's grin sharpened. "A few hundred years. But that's nothing for you, right, immortal Bat?" Batman's silence said everything. WTF? Batman across the multiverse immortal, more powerful than Superman, wielding godlike force? That's what he'd heard, but having only met Alex, he could only assume he was some weaker copy. Shoving aside the sting of inferiority, Batman analyzed the scene. Soldiers strewn across Metropolis, not dead but locked in eternal sleep, unlike the Traveler Batman, whose existence defied mortality. Meanwhile, Alex returned to his oceanfront villa, syncing with the DC energy grid through a Kryptonian battery. After the Black Zero event, 4 divine figures had risen. Superman, Batman, Catwoman, and the one true cosmic force traveler, Batman. As Alex cooked, the television broadcasted a newscast with a general lauding the quartet, protectors of Earth against Kryptonian colonization. But it was Traveler Batman at the apex among them who stood as the strongest god in human form, the mightiest force in the event, and a permanent ally of the US. A sudden voice from the crowd cuts through the air, an older man accusing the Traveler Batman of casting a mysterious spell that plunged all Metropolis soldiers into an eternal sleep, their minds lost, their bodies unresponsive. Chaos trembles in the air, but the general steps forward with a smirk that doesn't flinch. Looking straight into the camera, he calls it propaganda, a smear campaign, a terrorist trick to defame a hero. He defends the Traveler Batman as a noble figure, placing blame instead on the defeated Kryptonians who unleashed a consciousness bomb in a final act of desperation. The state, he declares, will not abandon its fallen heroes, their care assured, their awakening a matter of time. The crowd roars in approval, swept by patriotic fervor. But far away, watching coldly, Alex scoffs. To him, it's all a farce. Those soldiers, gone for good. Minds shattered by psychic overload, nothing left but silence. Even if their minds were restored, they'd awaken as hollow shells, memories wiped clean. Alex flicked off the television, rice still steaming as he attuned himself to the raw pulse of the DC multiverse. A smirk crept across his face. Catwoman caught it instantly, her fingers gently tracing his cheek. "What's got you smiling, Master?" she purred. Without missing a beat, Alex answered, "My ability just synced perfectly with this universe. Plans change, we're skipping the ocean antics and heading straight for Themyscira." Catwoman blinked. "Amazon?" she echoed. Alex's voice turned mythic. Legendary warriors, born of gods, cloaked in immortality and mystic barriers. They guard the mother box or next target. Catwoman hesitated. What if they refuse? But Alex's gaze was unwavering. They won't. Whether it's raw force or the unlimited void, they'll comply. His aura pulse portal stabilized. Fusion rate rising past 53%, inching toward a new awakening. The Kryptonian battery still fed him energy, but compared to the Infinity Stones, it was a slow burn. No matter momentum was building, and soon, not even God-made barriers would stand. With his portal restored, Alex Locke surged forward through dimensions, landing on the sacred sands of Paradise Island Themyscira, the mythic land hidden by Zeus's will. Beneath a piercing blue sky, wrapped in the shimmer of ancient magic, he and Catwoman beheld the spiraling peaks and vine-wrapped relics of the Amazon's ancestral city. "Not bad, it's mine now," Alex declared coldly, eyes gleaming with cosmic calculation. The moment his spatial ripple breached the barrier, Amazon warriors emerged in force-tall, armored, unyielding. Their queen, radiant and sharp-eyed, confronted him. But Alex, unmoved by grace or authority, had come not for diplomacy, but dominion. The conquest of Themyscira had begun. Alex approaches the Amazon Queen with calm diplomacy, requesting the powerful relic for safekeeping. His respectful tone momentarily eases their tension, but his words trigger alarm when he reveals knowledge of a coming invasion. He warns of a powerful force seeking to merge 3 ancient artifacts to conquer Earth, insisting their strength won't be enough to stop it. When asked how he knows, Alex claims to foresee the future witnessing collapse, resurrection, and war. Though shaken, the Queen refuses to hand over the artifact, declaring its importance too great, even if his prophecy proves true. When asked why he and his companion believed they could surpass the entire Amazon tribe, Alex merely smirked and replied, "You're welcome to test me." A sudden hush blanketed the land. Though his grin remained, something unnameable clawed at the Amazon's instincts and ancient dread awakening in their blood. Hippolyta, attuned to such forces, sensed it first. The stranger's smile masked cosmic menace. Her voice dropped. "Very well, as you wish." With her signal, arrows darkened the sky, yet none reached Alex. They froze, suspended mid-flight, 5 meters from his body. Unflinching, Alex advanced. More arrows flew, sharper, faster yet. They too halted at that invisible perimeter. Even Hippolyta's personal shot, breaking the sound barrier with divine wrath, met the same fate. Her breath caught as he neared. "What did you do?" Alex's voice was soft, almost teasing. "Just a small trick of manipulating space, nothing significant. Now, can I have the mother box?" Hippolyta stood frozen, her warrior's instincts screaming as the being before her calm, silver-haired, cloaked in an eerie, twilight-radiated, unfathomable power. Paradise Island trembled beneath him, the air splitting with raw energy as his presence fractured the very ground. She offered the mother box under strict terms. Unsure if he was ally or foe, but his answer shattered illusions. With a smile that cracked the sky, he demanded more than trust. He wanted the island itself. Lightning coiled at his feet, platinum aura erupting outward like a domain unbound. "I like this island. It's mine now," he declared, voice laced with divine arrogance. The queen's eyes widened. The Amazons readied for war, but they were already within his grasp. He's no ally more like Steppenwolf's shadow. As arrows rained from the skies, they shattered before even touching Alex, who stood untouched and amused. With a calm smirk, he summoned the force of his will, expanding a phantom field across the entire island. Domain expansion, unlimited void. Instantly, false memories twisted into the minds of the Amazon warriors, bending their loyalty. One by one, under the paralyzed stare of their queen, they dropped to one knee, whispering the word, "Master." Watching their submission, Alex turned to Hippolyta, letting her anguish bloom. Her mind spiraled. Was this sorcery or reality unraveling? Why had her proud sister submitted to this intruder? Shaking, she confronted him, only to feel his cold grasp tilt her chin. "You know what I want to hear," he murmured. And with trembling defiance broken by duty, she whispered it, "Master." Satisfied, Alex simply nodded, dominion etched in every motion. Inside a crumbling ancient palace, crimson lightning danced around a floating cube pulsing with forbidden power. The mother box. Carved runes caged its force, locking it from reaching beyond. Alex stepped forward, eyes locked, hand raised. The artifact shrieked with repulsion, blasting him back, rejecting his will. Hippolyta watched, certain he would fail, but Alex surged forward again, ignoring the storm of resistance. Crimson-black energy exploded as he made contact. The mother box fought, trembled, screamed, but Alex absorbed it all, stabilizing the chaos, bending it to his will. Power crackled across his frame. Limitless Life 5 activated. Energy poured from the box like a cosmic river into his core, flooding his system, fusing with his template. But the box resisted deep down, trying to call its siblings, yet the runes held firm. Alone, sealed. It had no escape. Alex had tamed the storm. Staring into the pulsating mother box in his grip, Alex Locke felt a surge of possibility. Unlike the fragile Infinity Stones, this relic thrived even outside its native universe, a seed of creation itself. With a silent command, he unveiled his pocket dimension, where the eternal flame blazed as a sun and the frost casket sculpted land, their fused energy forming a higher, limitless force. Though modest in volume, this energy intensified the system's fusion rhythm, swelling his dimensional construct. He embedded the mother box at the center, etching complex runes around it and merging its power using barrier techniques drawn from cursed domains. The result? Energy beyond comprehension, triggering the dimension's rapid evolution, its boundaries stretching until it rivaled a town, then slowing, strained by the limits of his LV4 limitless curse technique. A single misstep could unravel the space. Brows furrowed, Alex summoned the system panel just 144 points shy of evolution. No margin for error. He turned sharply, aura flickering like twilight fire. "Stand back," he warned, voice cold as space, eyes locked on the swirling rift of power before him. As the distance from danger grew, Alex channeled everything into stabilizing the warped pocket dimension. His limitless cursed technique erupting with relentless spatial slashes that carved through the fabric of reality itself, its strike feeding the technique's growth like clockwork. The steady stream of experience points surged until the system shattered the silence. Level up. At level 5, limitless, transformed atomic level manipulation, untouchable presence, and a 50-meter dominion where space obeyed only him. What was once a confined sphere now bent and stretched, folding to his will, capable of reaching distances once thought impossible. With power magnified, even the mightiest foes would falter. The rogue dimension he once struggled to tame bloomed like a star, expanding past towns into a sprawling city-sized realm, finally settling at 50 kilometers across. Bathed in its radiant energy, Alex smiled. This was more than control. It was evolution. A godwalker sculpting reality to fuel his ascension. Alex needed more than just power, he needed perfection. With 2 mother boxes still unclaimed, a radical thought struck him. Could Themyscira become the floating core of his pocket universe? A cosmic stronghold like Asgard? Without hesitation, he vanished and reappeared above the hidden island, his 6 glowing eyes piercing its magical shield. Crackling with black and red lightning, he unleashed his full force, expanding his domain until it swallowed the entire island. A rift tore open in the sky, rapidly growing until it mirrored the size of Themyscira itself. As Amazon warriors rushed out in alarm, the apocalyptic void beyond the portal sent chills through their hearts until a calm voice reminded them, "It's just the boss." Above, Alex summoned gravitational collapsey black hole inside his pocket. Realmite, the sacred relics, shielded by enchantments, stood untouched. Themyscira began to drift into his artificial cosmos, a divine chess move in a game that spanned realities. Do you like this personality? Themyscira trembled as immense gravitational force pulled it skyward, seawater rising with it. Alex controlled the island's ascent using vector manipulation, preventing collapse while guiding it into a swirling portal. Amazons watched and awe. This was power beyond myth, beyond Zeus. The island detached from Earth and vanished into a pocket dimension. Alex, drained but recovering swiftly, stabilized the new realm with giant portals that created a flowing tidal cycle. Runes etched into the sky mirrored the world outside, crafting a flawless illusion. Standing above it all, Alex surveyed his creation. Themyscira was now his hidden stronghold, bound to him alone. Even in a realm stitched from gods and myths, some things never change, like needing a network cable. Returning to solid ground, Catwoman rushed up, her eyes wide after witnessing a miracle. "Boss, what did you just do?" she asked, stunned. Hippolyta wasn't far behind, her warrior's intuition screaming that Themyscira had just undergone a reality-defying shift. Alex, calm as ever, grinned. "I moved Themyscira into a space I created. It's now a self-contained, independent world, shielded and sustained by its own laws." Their shock was electric. Catwoman, always confident in Alex's strength, had never imagined he could forge worlds, something only gods were said to do. But Hippolyta knew the deeper truth. Even Zeus had failed to achieve this. He had merely cloaked Themyscira in a magical shell because he couldn't create space itself. But Alex? He'd gone beyond the God King, lifting islands and birthing dimensions like it was nothing. For the Amazon Queen, the realization landed like thunder. This wasn't just power, it was cosmic supremacy. And with that, a quiet despair settled in. Fearing for Diana's safety, she gave up on freeing the Amazons and prayed the warrior never return. Meanwhile, Alex expanded Themyscira's connections to the outside world, but the barrier techniques he knew weren't enough to sustain an entire dimension. Using Limitless.LV4, he extracted knowledge from scientists to enhance the structure, yet gaps remained. Determined, he planned to explore other worlds for barrier mastery. Through constant energy absorption, his fusion rate reached 60%, unlocking a powerful new ability, Unknown Wings Platinum. As Platinum wings unfurled and a glowing ring formed above his head, Alex's power surged by 50%. Alex stood at the edge of power itself, his eyes locked on the final frontier abyss. In this ultimate state, he could tank blows from demon gods without flinching, touching the ceiling of single universe force. If Abyss hit level 3, returning to confront the Celestials would be more than just an idea, it'd be a reckoning. While that plan brewed, he upgraded his pocket dimension, anchoring his seaside villa onto a floating island near Themyscira, sculpting a paradise ruled by code and will. Tapping into the wisdom of forgotten scientists, Alex fused the mother box into his domain's infrastructure, syncing weather systems and logic loops into an organic digital Cosmoshi's own pocket universe. Power surged, energy stabilized, but ambition refused to rest. Until he could punch through panels and shatter the fourth wall itself, he'd never be done. Curiosity pulled him toward Atlantis. A golden portal tore through the calm of the underwater palace, revealing him and his companion, breaking the silence with raw defiance. King Orm, fueled by rage and vengeance over humanity's crimes against the sea, reacted with fury. His silver trident aimed squarely at the intruder's, voice echoing through the chamber. "Two surface dwellers daring to breach. Atlantis, you will be neutralized. Guards, attack." Orm, too arrogant to engage directly, sent his elite guards to handle the intruders through humans he dismissed as minor threats. But Alex stood still, untouched, trusting Catwoman to shield him. And she did her enhanced symbiote. Now AI integrated and upgraded by cutting-edge tech, formed a deadly ballet of pink tendrils that shredded every attack before it reached him. Moving faster than sound, Catwoman dismantled the enemy forces, leaving only echoes behind. Meanwhile, Alex's focus was locked on the glowing mother box, shockingly unguarded in Atlantis' inner sanctum. As he reached for it, the box trembled in futile resistance, but his overwhelming presence consumed it, dragging it into his pocket universe. There, it clicked into a waiting slot beside another box, their fusion unleashing energy that surged into Alex, accelerating his transformation and doubling the size of his inner realm. Even Themyscira, already absorbed, could no longer fill it. Energy crackled as his private dimension matured under this surge. After reassuring the Amazon warriors within, he turned back to the battlefield eyes, sharp, mind-cold, power rising just in time to witness Catwoman's relentless dominance over the Atlanteans. Is this conversation helpful so far? Catwoman, moving like a shadow blade, sliced through the palace guards with ease their weapons. Though advanced, might as well have been toys. King Orm, realizing brute force wouldn't cut it, charged in personally. Even submerged, with the ocean empowering him, he was no match for her overwhelming might. His rage boiled over as he hissed about Atlantis' incoming army and hurled a roaring flood, pushing Catwoman back. Spotting the missing mother box, His gaze snapped to Alex, accusations flying about Darkseid and invasion. He lunged at Alex, aiming to seize control, but Alex stood calm, wrapped in the invisible force of Limitless Life 5. The space between them twisted, stretched, then froze. Orm locked mid-lunge, muscles tensed, unable to move an inch. Alex stepped forward, a calm storm in human form, and with a half-smile said, "King Orm, relax. I have no ill intentions." Alex calmly explained his visit to Atlantis had already taken the Mother Box and now sought to study their knowledge. Orm looked around at his downed soldiers in disbelief, questioning the supposed peaceful intent. Catwoman quickly clarified they were only paralyzed by nanosymbiotes and not harmed. As she withdrew the nanobots, the soldiers awoke and charged, only to be frozen mid-attack by Alex's spatial control. Orm, though fierce, valued his warriors and hesitated. Defeating Alex would cost too much. Just as he considered surrender, a red-haired figure arrived with armored troops, energy cannons primed to annihilate the entire palace.